We're back with President Cyril Ramaphosa. In this segment, we will tackle corruption, and to that end, we're going to go to the Free State now, to the Vrede Dairy farm in Vrede, the scene of one of the most shocking examples of state capture by the controversial Gupta family. Ian says Michael Apple is there. Michael.
That's right. This is the scene of state capture, one of the very first examples of state capture that came into the public arena. 220 million rand siphoned out of South Africa to the shores of Dubai, laundered there, and then came back to pay for the now infamous Gupta wedding. The man who blew the whistle on the Vrede Dairy farm is Dr. Khadebe. He was a councillor in the Pumalela municipality back in 2012. He joins me now with this question for the President.
Mr. President, Vrede Dairy scam is one of the backbone behind the state capture. And before you were elected in this ANC-arranged leadership, you promised us all South Africans that you are going to fight corruption. And I just want to know from you, are you willing to fight the state capture? Because the State Capture Commission is the commission which was set by the former president, who's also conflicted on the state capture. So your question is, are you willing to fight state capture even if it means to go after your own comrades? And you made it clear over the weekend that your main objective is to unite the ANC. So are you willing to fight state capture even if it means to go after your own comrades in the ANC?
Yes. Mr. President, how do you answer that? Are you willing to fight state capture? Are you willing to go after those who are possibly close to you?
Yes, I mean, the answer is yes. And this is based on the mandate that we received from our conference. Our conference was very clear on the issue of corruption, that we must eradicate and eliminate corruption in South Africa. And it also said that there must be accountability. Now, state capture is something that we've been talking about quite a lot. We now have a commission. The commission, the Deputy Chief Justice Zondo is now going to commence with the hearings later in August. And that commission is going to go into the depths, into the real belly of what state capture was all about.
So you imagine it's going to be pretty frightening.
It is going to reveal quite a lot of things, hopefully. And those, whether they are inside the ANC, outside the ANC, those who are found to be complicit in state capture, who have done certain things, must be accountable.
Because you're going to have to be brutal. Are you going to be prepared to be that tough?
Well, accountability is the order of the day. And in the end, we've got our criminal justice entities and institutions that are actually going to have to do the work. And this is the beauty about our country, that we have institutions. Yes, some of them may have been compromised during the past few years, but we are putting that right. And it is through those institutions. And it is not even going to be a decision that will be taken from high end in the union buildings. It is going to be a decision that will be taken openly, without any fear, prejudice, that will be taken by the criminal justice people who are supposed to ensure that there is rule of law in South Africa. So the answer is a resounding yes. We will make sure that we root out corruption, and if it affects any of us, we must be accountable. As leaders, we've got to stand up and say we are accountable for our actions, whether they are bad or good.
Okay, because your Secretary General Ace Magashale was the Premier of the Free State when that happened. Are you going to hold him accountable?
If there is evidence that proves that whoever, be it the Secretary General, whoever is accountable for that, then they have a case to answer. They have to be answerable, and that is where accountability becomes the order of the day. Because if you've done certain things that may well have compromised the resources of the country that are meant for the people, then you should be man or woman enough to be accountable and to answer to the questions, the charges, or whatever that may be preferred against you, and go and present an answer to issues that will be put before you.
Because I can tell you, I mean, from the minute that we announced you were going to join us this evening, I mean, all of our phones have been going crazy, and corruption is one of the hot topics. We've been getting so many tweets about this coming into us, and it's something that people need to be dealt with, and they need it to be dealt with now.
Yes, corruption is one of the key issues that concern South Africans.
Also for business confidence.
And for business confidence, and also for community confidence, because our people, the communities, want to be sure that the government is there to serve them and it's not there to serve parochial interests of certain people, that the government is there to spend their money correctly and not to waste their money, and the government is there for them. So people are correct in being concerned about corruption, because corruption is a cancer. And once it embeds itself in the body politic of our country, it begins to break the body apart. It embeds itself in the sinews of our body as South Africans, and we must root it out. We must just tackle corruption very, very determinedly. And this is what the government that I lead is prepared to do.
I'm going to put this tweet to you by Kaqibi. Jane Dutton, who comes first, the people of South Africa or the ANC? If the former, is he delaying tactics until after 2019 elections to instruct state agencies to investigate cases of corruption by people in his own cabinet?
The people of South Africa come first. The ANC is there to serve them. The ANC is the servant of the people. Since it was established in 1912, that has been its mission, to serve our people. And in serving our people, we must put our people first. So in the end, the criminal justice agencies are the ones who are going to have to investigate, and the commission of inquiry that we've instituted into state capture is the one that we should put our trust in, to ferret out everything that was happening. Everything that was revealed in the so-called Gupta emails is now going to have to come out into the open and be proven. And the evidence will have to be put forward. Where there are false allegations, they'll have to be disproved. Where there are allegations that hold water, they'll have to be proven. So let us have the patience. The judge has taken his time in putting the commission together, and correctly so, because he wanted to put in all the structures that will make his commission work properly.
Okay, let's keep with the theme of corruption. We're now going to go to Tayondo in Limpopo, where our reporter Zikona Chona is at Nedbank with some VBS customers.
We are outside the VBS Mutual Bank branch in Sibasa, Limpopo. This is the very same bank where a few weeks ago we saw customers sleeping outside the bank, desperate to access their money. Now, on Friday, VBS customers were relieved to be able to access their money via Nedbank branches. But the state of the bank still remains a concern for many here who would like to see it back on its feet. One of them is Tamba Mudeli, who has this question for the president.
Mbudziso ine ndakutodoi taisa ine yakuya president washu wa Africa Chipembe wo Cyril Ramaphosa ndi ya uri ndi zwifhio zwine vanga thusa sa muvhuso uri banga iyi ya VBS isivale.
To translate for our viewers, Tamba wants to know from the president what can he do as the head of state to make sure that VBS is not shut down.
Well, the VBS story shocked all of us. It was really a travesty of the trust that our people had placed in a financial institution. What has been happening, or what happened in VBS, is really a shame, not only to the people of Venda in the Limpopo, but the people of South Africa as a whole, and ordinary old women who saved their money for burial societies and all that. So we are really ashamed about what happened. Now, the good thing about our South Africa is that we have good institutions. The reserve.
Can we just go back to that? So let's just deal with that issue, because it's quite a big one. I mean, this was the first black-owned bank, first black run bank. And you just wonder how that was allowed to happen. I mean, the municipalities there were told not to deal with the bank, not to get involved. So clearly, people in high positions knew that something was going horribly wrong there.
Well, the Central or the Reserve Bank has regulatory processes. And when it comes to mutual banks, the regulatory processes are less stringent than with commercial banks. And as a result, what I'm told is that they did not immediately have line of sight of what was happening in that bank.
But they must have known something was wrong to be advised not to get involved.
Well, this will all come out in the open as the various cases come to the fore, and we will then know what the central bank or the Reserve Bank knew, and where we need to tighten up the rules, we should be able to do so. Some people are suggesting that the rules or the regulations are too lax. They did not give the Reserve Bank enough stick to be able to guide the bank in the correct way. So there was obviously a lapse there, and it's something that needs to be looked at. But in the end, we have to deal with the situation that ordinary people who deposited money have to deal with. But for starters, those who are responsible must now be dealt with in terms of our law.
Do you ever get angry when you hear this sort of news? I mean, it seems to be everywhere. It's endemic. I mean, why don't you get more cross when you hear this sort of thing? Or is it something that bubbles inside of you?
Well, I do get angry, and there is something in my belly, and to the extent that I show it, revolves around the confidence that I have in our institutions. We've set up really good institutions. For starters, we've made sure that the depositors, those who had put money up to a certain level, don't lose the money. So they've now been saved, they got some money back, and we've made sure that the central bank or the Reserve Bank is there to act as guarantor. And we would like to save VBS. That's the question that was asked. Would like VBS to be saved because it has a good brand name, it has served the people of Limpopo very well, and it lost its way along the way because there were people who had ill intent in going to raid the money of the bank and doing fictitious
transactions. Taking out the poorest of the poor.
And taking money from the poorest of the poor, and even taking money from municipalities. Money that was put in that bank was meant for projects in the various municipalities, and it comes from the central government. So therefore, there has to be follow-up, and there has to be accountability there as well, because it is money that was stolen from our people. And maybe we should now, stop using euphemisms and call these people thieves.
Yes.
Because that's precisely what they are. They are thieves, they are robbers, and they are scoundrels, because people who take money from ordinary grandmothers who put money in there for their life savings as well as for their burials have to be called exactly what they are, thieves.
Thieves.
Yes.
We have a tweet for you to read to you from On the Economy, and it's going to come up on the screen in a minute. It's talking about the VAT increase, the constant petrol price increases. I believe it's going to be coming up or going up again in the next month. That hasn't been confirmed yet. What are your views while the consumers are suffering?
Well, I've been really troubled by this. The VAT one we could not avoid because towards the end of the year, there was a decision that we should fund students in higher education, and we decided that we are going to follow through with that. We're going to make money available, but when we looked at the kitty did not have enough money. And these are working class children who needed to be funded. These are children from poor families. And in the end, the act of solidarity had to kick in so that...
But that's the poor subsidizing it. What about
precisely,
businesses?
But at the same time, there is a benefit, the benefit that they also get, that their children are able to get a decent education so that they can care precisely for those families. And there are trade-offs. There are difficult trade-offs. I must tell you that this was the most difficult budget that our government has had to put together. It was not easy. It was heart-wrenching for us to impose a burden on ordinary people. That's why we also increased the grant level a little bit so that we soften the blow. But the other way we can soften the blow, and which we're working on, I've asked ministers in the economic sector to look at, is what we can do, what other measures we can take to soften the blow on VAT, on petrol, increases that our people have suffered, and the increase in just the standard of living.
Because all of us here were inundated again. You know, that was the hot topic, the increase in food prices, fuel prices, and the fact that it seems that the poor are constantly paying for that deficit, paying to plug the hole, when possibly businesses should get taxed, or money needs to be found in another area. I mean, you say it's going to change. When's it going to change?
Well, it is going to change because we are now determined to focus on the growth of our economy. We want our economy to grow, and we want to reduce government spending, but not to reduce the payouts that we give for social grants or for social programs, to reduce the wastage, but also to reduce or to eliminate the corruption, because quite a lot of the money was also, stolen. Yeah. Quite a lot of money was being wasted. So we are now cutting all that to the bone to make sure that there is no corruption, money is utilized properly. And this hardship will not last forever, and growth is going to happen. It's around the corner, and soon we will be able to alleviate the difficult burden that our people are bearing at the moment.
Okay, thank you, Mr. President. Stay with us. Next, we're talking about the big question facing the country. Well, another one, right? The land issue.